Democrats have done it again. Today, they have introduced a bill that is 164 pages and strikes out the word mother at least 370 times. They've even removed the term breastfeeding and instead they've called it person breastfeeding and chest feeding. Yeah, because men can breastfeed, right? This isn't the party of science. This is the party of insanity. This is what happens when you're ruled by a radical left-wing agenda. You can't even say the word mother. And you have to say pregnant person. You can't say mother. You can't say breastfeeding. You have to say chest feeding or person who breastfeeds.
See, my daughter did that for me. I'm like dancing a little bit.
I love it.
A little long. We're gonna cut it down, but it's cute. I liked it. Thanks for coming on the show, Moms for Liberty Unplugged. And this is one of our new national live stream podcasts that we're doing. We come into contact so often with all of these great people like you, Peachy Keenan, your pseudonym, and I'm like, I want to get these folks on a podcast and just talk. I kind of don't have a lot of plan. Just talk about things from a mom's perspective. And I know beforehand it's summer. My kids are quiet because they are not here for the most part. I've let them go to their friend's house, and one's at work because of a summer job. And then my 13-year-old is watching TV downstairs. So she's happy because I'm letting her have some screen time. And so it's a little quieter here. And if I flipped this around, you would see there's a crib right in front of me.
Oh.
For my grandson, when they come in my daughter's old bedroom. So there's toys all around. And
how are you a grandmother?
I'll show you.
Wow.
I listen. Hey, take the advice. My kids my daughter I have two married. My 26-year-old just got married. My 23-year-old's married and has a baby. And here.
Oh my goodness.
Love of my life, my little.
Oh my goodness.
My Jackson.
He's precious. Look at that.
Yeah.
How good is that? I can't wait.
I know. It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah. I miss having little babies. My youngest is, she turned 9 yesterday. And to me, she's my baby, my youngest of 5. And I was just around my niece who's 1. And I was like, you miss it.
You can't. My youngest is just turned 13. So she's in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And at first she's a little jealous because she's like, I'm the baby. I'm still your baby.
Yeah.
And she's still my baby.
Yeah.
We still snuggle. We were snuggling last night. I was in bed before I laid with her a little bit before she went to sleep. But with Jackson, and now he's 19 months. And I was just with him, and when he saw me, when they run up to you and they hug you and they're kissing you,
it's just the best drug. It's just
when he's especially when he's with his mom, my daughter, and then he comes to, he puts the arm out to me, and I'm like, oh, he loves me, he wants me.
Well, you're a great example of what I did write about in my book of the benefits of if you are lucky enough to get married at a younger age and you have children and they decide to have children at a younger age, you get a very long period of time where you can be just an active and present grandmother and hopefully welcome lots of grandchildren. And you're not in a home yet. You're not bedridden yet. You can still take them to the park and they can sleep over, and you can really be, take the full role, which is such a joy for both of you.
It is. Mm-hmm. I've now sometimes and know but I'll look and I'll see other grandparents and at their age, and they have little ones, and they're like, this is my first grandchild. And I'm like, I'm so happy. Going to Disney World with Jackson and going on all the rides with him. And we're on a boat. We take him on a boat. And I just kept him. My son-in-law is in the Air Force. He's stationed overseas. So I've been flying to help my daughter. They're in Florida. And so I can do that. I can handle it. I can bring him back home. And listen, I'm tired. I'm just like, oh, I forgot how hard this was. It's the same.
Which is why you don't want to be doing it at your age for the first time as a mother. Yeah.
I can't imagine that not too far off my age, there are first time moms. And I'm like, oh man, like I wasn't planned, like my first one, we were married, but I was in law school. Jake's dad was in medical school, and oops, it was, we got married young because my religious beliefs, and it was better for us. We got more student loans.
Right.
It was cheaper.
A lot of reasons. So a lot of reasons.
And my family, like we couldn't move in together without being married. So we got married young and had my first one when I was 23, which feels like I was a baby, but I had so much energy and,
oh my gosh,
and then I waited, and I waited a while to have my second one. And then I know I've heard your story. I had 2 miscarriages in between my second, third, and you can tell your story,
terrible.
But I was so shocked because I had 2 regular pregnancies, got pregnant again, told everyone right away, didn't think anything of it. And and I waited even for them because they have to do the procedure, and I waited. There's no heartbeat. There's nothing. I was like, I refuse. You can't do this until 100%. And every appointment, I was like hoping, like maybe it will change and the baby will be, And so after that, I was like, I want to have more kids. I want to have kids until the doctor says I can't have them anymore.
Wow. Yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I had a similar experience. They couldn't find the heartbeat at 12 weeks, my first one. And so, we told everyone, we had picked out a name, everyone was already, my grandmother was already knitting little baby sweaters. And so just the shock, we were just not prepared at all.
Yeah.
At all. Wait, what? What just happened? How did this? And actually it was the trigger. And I read about this in my book. It was actually the trigger that sent my husband back to the church. And we were just in mourning, and he's like, I have to go and have to become Catholic now. He'd been baptized as a baby, but had never, gone to mass or any of this other sacraments. And he's like, I can't deal with this. So that was really,
how old were you?
In a way, it was a blessing. What's that?
How old were you with your first pregnancy?
I was how old was I? Around 30.
Yeah. So you're just not, when you're that young and stuff, you're not expecting everything should because I was the same age when I had my first, and, but then how important it was, I realized how precious, it is. And, when I was pregnant again, I was so scared at first. And, but I'm like, it's just a gift. It's a blessing. And I never looked at things, even though I was pro-life beforehand and all of that. It really changed my view. And, I just loved being a mom. I didn't plan on it. I wasn't one of those that was like, oh, I want to have 5 kids. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to, I was the oldest of 4 kids. I really had not thought, oh, my dream is to be a mom and be married young. It just kind of happened. But Jake, my son Jake, it was the minute I found out, I was just and then when they come, and when they're, to anyone, the first, for me, they lay him on your chest and it's my heart, it's It's
It's love at first sight, and it's the rest of your life.
Yeah, it is.
And the thing is, I was like you. I was, wanted to have a career as a writer, and I was working, and I didn't want to get married or have a baby till my 30s, because that's what you were supposed to do. And I had no exposure to babies. So I was oldest of 3, didn't really have any cousins around. I never hung out with babies. I was like, church so noisy and messy. I need to be living my lifestyle. And it really wasn't until the same thing as you. I met my son, my oldest. I was like, oh, I have no idea. This is like what I want to do. This is what I want, who I want to hang out with. This is it. This is way better than all the other options. And then I immediately, I want him to have siblings. I didn't set out to have 5 kids either. I wanted him to have siblings. I wanted him to have a brother, and then I wanted to have a daughter. And then I just kind of kept rolling down, Yeah. But I think for a lot of women who either if it doesn't happen accidentally, they have to make a conscious decision one day, like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to go off the pill, take out the IUD. I'm ready. And that's so scary and hard. That's like telling them to jump off a cliff. And a lot of those girls can't really quite ever do that. And that's sad. It's tragic. Almost like having it happen accidentally is sort of like a great plan in a way. If you're, with someone great, like it can work out.
Yes, I've told my son who's just married, and he just graduated medical school. So I'm like, so when is grandbaby's coming? Like last till, well, Mom,
get on it.
and I'm like, I know that I'd be married for a little bit. I get it. They're young. They're 26. I'm like, but don't wait for there's no perfect time to have a baby. There's no like, I've got it all lined up. I'll be financially, like, it's going to throw your world inside out, upside down. It's all for the good. You will get, you just learn the minute every pregnancy. It's like it. I think before only one of my kids was planned, Emma. She always brags, I was the planned one. Everyone else was sort of like, I wasn't expecting it. You should think, at my 5th one, you should think I should know, but I'm like, wait a second, my boobs are getting a lot bigger.
What's going on here? I haven't had my period.
I'm thinking for a second, and I remember I called my husband, and I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. He started laughing. He's just like, he's like, funny joke. I'm like, no, not joking. And that it's like that. It was like, okay, we're gonna do this again. Like, we've got the stuff. Wasn't planned. We're gonna do it again, and and then you can't imagine your world without him. So waiting for this perfect time, this perfect moment, I'm gonna have it all lined up. And
then you can have 2 miscarriages in a row. I mean, things can take you much, much longer than you plan. Like, oh, we're gonna have have a baby next year. Well, you might not. Like, it's always, you never know in life. And the beautiful example for me are the the trad moms that I hang out with. These women, Catholic women, who are really they got married young, and just from day one they're just open to life. And like in a real way. They're not worried about birth control. They're not worried about, oh, I have too many, I need to stop, I need to space. They're just kind of open to life, and like God has a plan for them, and they accept these beautiful babies in their life. And there's no, I mean, I'm sure there is actually, like in reality, like, how are we going to deal with this or afford this? But they know that this is going to be such a wondrous blessing to their family and to their siblings, that they are just like, they get to this place of peace with this. And it's just, I mean, it's a beautiful example. Like, I admit, when I found out I was pregnant, surprise, with my 5th, I was a little older. I was like,
that's neat. Yeah.
I was not just like, oh, wonderful. I was like in shock. My husband, like, his face went white. We were like, we're a little bit older. Like, are we too old for this?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
I was still changing diapers for one. One had just gotten out of diapers. And I'm just like, we're treading, we feel like, because I had 2 older, and then we had them. And then I was like, this will be a lot, but we're in a better place financially. We could actually like afford to get some help this time. So we'll get, and basically help was, have during the summer, have a babysitter watch one or two while I'm driving, like, and my husband's going one direction, I'm going another, and a babysitter with the baby. It's never like a
right. You weren't like at the spa getting your nails done. You're with kids. You're just not with all the.
There's like soccer, tennis, ones that did dance, ones that, and you're like I used to take a picture of my calendar before they were all, and it was just like, okay, today
how do we do it?
I know. I think about it. Now. It's crazy. And then when your kids, here's the great heads up, because with my daughter, then when she becomes a mom, she calls me out 10 times a day. I'm her best friend, and she's like, "You're the best mom ever. I don't know how you like." She's like, "Now I get it. Like, how did you do it, Pop? How did you do all of this stuff?" And so so great. You can't. We were not best friends when she was in high school. We were not. She was like, "I will never be like you." And if you're best friends with your teenage daughter, unless there's a rare occasion, but most of the time it's not ideal. Like you're kind of
I'm the bad guy, bad cop.
Yeah, I'm bad cop. Usually, dad's good cop a lot of times with the girl. Yeah. I'm the bad cop.
So true. Yeah, I have a 16-year-old daughter now, and like she's wonderful much of the time, but sometimes, it's like, no, you can't wear that. And we've just spent like weeks bathing suit shopping. I don't know if you've bathing suit shopping for teenage girls. She's like, "Isn't this cute?" I'm like, "Well, show me the back of it." And like, there is no back. Like, it's like, the fabric is like this. I'm like, mm-mm.
I'm like, "You're not going pole dancing, honey. We're going to the beach."
Yeah, you're going to be in front of your teenage brothers or your father. Like, you can't. She's like, "But I don't want a diaper butt." I'm like, "You don't need a diaper butt, but you don't need like a dental floss butt." Like,
what about prom dresses? Like, prom dresses that are
crazy.
And my daughter's like, "Everyone's wearing them," and I'm like, "If you bend over, like, honey, like that's not a prom dress. That's a t-shirt." I mean, it's.
Well, they're low cut and they're backless and they're slit all the way up. There's all three going on, and like you don't need all that. In our high school, we go to a classical like Catholic school, so they have like this strict dress code, and everyone always complains, not because the dress code is too strict, but because you can't find a dress for it. Like you can't have strapless and you can't have spaghetti straps. You have to have like the straps two fingers, and like you cannot find that. So mothers I've sewn a ribbon over the spaghetti strap, or mothers have like sewn the slit down to the knee. It's almost like impossible. But you don't want them to wear like a burqa. Like it's okay to look feminine and beautiful. Like, yes, let's show their shoulders, of course, like I don't care, but you cannot find these dresses.
It's a and that was the rule. Like I told my daughter, like if you're going to have spaghetti straps, then loose or longer. If it's gonna be shorter, make sure it's more like just there's some modesty somewhere, because otherwise it's too much. It's just
why are you showing it all? You don't need to show it all.
And she's an athlete most of the time. Like most of the time, you are in sweatpants and a sweatshirt, or you're wearing Lululemon. My Lululemon. You're stealing it from me, wearing it. And most of the time, but then all of a sudden for prom, it's like, whoa, and they're wearing it. She's like, "Well, I'm just gonna wear it literally for like some pictures and change." But yeah, we went to battle. The dress I got her, I had them sew fabric onto the bottom, like a ruffle, and then did the same thing, like having, because it was impossible to find a dress. It was either matronly or slutty, and just. I'm like, can you just make something that's attractive and trendy, but not just.
It doesn't need to be like cut to the waist, to the belly button. Like they're 16 years old, guys. Like
I know, and
they don't need their back down, cut out to the butt.
I think they don't get that. There's the men that are looking at them are not the ones that they are.
Right. Yeah, they want to they want to look for like the huzz, as the girls say. And I'm like, well, the hus aren't the ones driving the cars next to me. It's like 60-year-old truckers who are going to be looking at you, you know, like keep in mind, like who else is out there that you're walking around and seeing you, like waiting for you to bend over in the miniskirt. My daughter is going to actually starting a new school this fall, and it's a Catholic school, but it's a little less strict on the uniform code. And we went to visit it, and the girls' skirts are, I mean, basically just covers the underwear and that's it. And so we had a battle over that. Like, and she understands, like, yeah, I'm not going to let her wear that, but she can't have, you know, she's used to having skirts to her knee. So I've got to we got to bring the skirt up. So that's we're going to have like a measuring tape battle of like how long.
I know. Uniforms are great. My kids, so all my girls went to Catholic schools up to 8th grade. And there is the only Catholic all-girls school is across town. And during COVID, and I actually signed up one of my daughters to go to it. And during COVID, it got just as woke. It was Jesuit. And
forget it.
I didn't understand it. I thought I was so like all girls Catholic school. It's great. And for the most of the parents are traditional, but it's Jesuit. It's in the city. And so you get a lot of wealthy, progressive families that are Catholic that go into the school, and they were doing the BLM stuff and the walkouts and the struggle sessions. My daughter was supposed to read. So and then it was COVID too, and they were masked. So we pulled her out and we put her in a Lutheran school. The first thing I'm acting like, is there no critical race theory, no gender ideology stuff? And they assured me that it wasn't. And so she went there, and there were no masks. And but now with my daughter, who is my youngest, we're looking at a Catholic school that's not too far away. And my big thing, I'm like, as long as it's not woke, otherwise we've got this Lutheran high school that's good. But my 6-year-old is in public school because she's an athlete, and they have the best sports, and she gets all her friends, and she's a really good kid, and I'm so busy that she can't get into trouble. She's in so many sports and things, and the high school's good. It's not as good as if you had a good Catholic high school like that, but it's good. It's not, the kids are good. The parents are really good. She's doing well, but our youngest, we're like, that's our last one in public school. So.
Oh, wow. With sports, it's hard to get that anywhere else. And I think athletics is a good antidote, actually, to, being on a girls' team. Like, you're with girls, like, you don't want guys on the team. Like, you're kind of going to naturally absorb, wholesome messages like that.
Yeah. And we're in still, like we were talking before, and I'm in a good community. The school the high school is good. It's a really good school. In Wisconsin, it's one of the top schools. And so I've spent a lot of my time, particularly the last 5 years, fighting to keep our public schools, from going overtly woke, and fighting to keep them open at first. And I feel like it's inevitably a losing battle, but fighting. You're in California, so a little bit more. California right now. Every week it's insane for a different reason.
No, I know. I talk about this all the time. Like, there's a elementary school 2 blocks away. My kids could walk to it if they wanted to. There's a little library right across the street. How perfect. Unfortunately, the school I think it's 80% Hispanic. My neighborhood is nowhere near that. It's like, I don't know, 30% or something. And it's now, there's so many native Spanish speakers that it's now in a, Spanish dual language immersion. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I think, my children would be like, just such a minority at this school. And the rating is like, I don't know, it's like a 2 or a 3 on grade schools, and my neighbors, who are super progressive, super liberal, they were volunteering there, and they pulled their daughter out, and they were like, do not send your kids there. It's a prison. That was his exact words. It's like a prison. And so, I live in a decent neighborhood. I mean, it's not Beverly Hills, but it's like good neighborhood. But you can't use the public schools that we pay for. No one I know uses the public schools except for these tiny little enclaves where houses go for like 3 million up, 3 or 4 million up, and there'll be a little charter public school nestled in there, and that school, they're fundraising millions of dollars. Those little public schools are like fabulous. Of course, you can't get in unless you can buy a house in this tiny little neighborhood, right?
Well,
so, I mean, great for them. And actually, I mean, what are you going to do? You're not going to, okay, yeah, they do pay for it. Why not use that school? But I can't use the school in my neighborhood that I pay for.
I had a similar experience in Colorado and Virginia. So I lived in Vail, and it was during training. So we at that time were living just in a condo, but the public school was a great area, beautiful, and no one sent their kids. The public school was Hispanic. It was all, and I'm Puerto Rican, but my kids don't speak Spanish. I don't speak it very well. I sent my son and daughter there, and they were, it was, like you said, Spanish immersion. And the only other option was this $30,000 a year preparatory Vail Academy school that we couldn't possibly afford.
Right.
So I was basically homeschooling them. They were in the school, and then my son was in the gifted program, and that meant that he actually got to go to English class where they could speak English. It was weird. And in Virginia, you couldn't even send your kids if you had 2 dimes to rub together, you put them into whatever school there was, whether it was in a little house, whatever. Just public school wasn't an option. They were not safe at all. And
we have a country where, yes, you can get a free education, but you can't actually. And it's like very few people who want their children going to like a wholesome school where they're not going to be fights or drugs or kids having cell phones in the classrooms, like all gangs, like who knows what's in these schools. Plus the teachers are Marxists who are hanging trans flags in their classrooms. So if you don't want that, you have to pay. Now you have to homeschool, or you have to pay for parochial or private school. And it's a huge barrier for families to start a family. It's like, well, then I can't work. If I'm homeschooling, then I can't work. Or I can't pay the, $12,000 that the Catholic school has. And what if I want to have 3 or 4 kids? And so having our public elementary schools be so bad generally is such a blanket on, I think, people's willingness to start families.
I was just
no good option. There's no good options. And so I applaud, DOE being eliminated, defunded, but the public school system must be reformed. Sometimes you can find like a decent elementary school, but then when you get to high school, literally, like I'm in Pasadena in California, and like you think Pasadena, nice, but the high school, there are gangs here, and like all the kids go to those high schools, And so I wouldn't send my child to these big giant LA public schools. There's probably some little gifted program or whatever in there, but I just, that's not the environment that I would want my daughter in.
Isn't it true? So I have a lot of friends through Moms for Liberty that live in California. One, Kelly Shinesky, and she started. They have a homeschooling co-op. There's like 150 parents, and they have recess. They put on a prom. They've really homeschooling to a whole different level. Like where I know that there are a lot of things that are done, but I think that it does depress, like having a kid. I have to think the schools are not good. So can I afford private school tuition? And then daycare is so expensive. And I feel like they've set up school to be daycare. And that's why it's not changing, because too many parents rely on it for daycare. And so they think, so they're like, I can't upset this apple cart, because where will my kids go while I work? And
and they don't have time, like Moms for Liberty, to go and talk, go to the school board and make the case and fight these issues. Because especially here, it does feel like, what is the point? You'll never win. We're so outnumbered here. The best option, and I'm not going to have my kid go all the way through school waiting for some magical change to happen one day. No, I don't have time for that. So people just walk, and people in California, as you know, are fleeing. 2 days ago, a family from the Palisades, their house was severely damaged in the fire. They just moved to the East Coast. Every week, another family tells me they're moving, and the schools are just part of the puzzle. Like, there's so many other issues here. And I will tell you that every single person I know in Los Angeles is like one incident away from finally being like, that's it, I am out. Because we were getting that point. A lot of people left during COVID, the fires. Some people did decide to leave. They're not going to sit around 3 years rebuilding their house. But now everyone who's still here, like me, is basically one thing away. My sister-in-law's house near Venice just got ransacked and burgled. She lives there alone with her three daughters there. They weren't home. They took jewelry, went through the girls' clothes. And then this weekend, my husband's partner at his work was driving home from the airport with his teenage son. And I guess they were going through a kind of a bad area near downtown, and a giant chunk of concrete, like the ones we saw in the LA riots that were being thrown onto the police cars. A big chunk of concrete was thrown by someone onto the road. He didn't have time to swerve. It hit him full speed on the freeway in the grill of his car, and like shattered his grill and the side of his car, and came basically 6 inches from, if it hit the windshield, and him and his son would have died. And he went home. He's a father of 13. He's a lawyer who's been practicing. This is like an incredible guy, Catholic guy, like amazing guy. He told his wife, and she said, that's it, we're out. And so everyone has like that breaking point, and people are starting to hit it now with just like the mayhem in the streets, the crime. People are over this.
And Gavin Newsom is positioning himself to run for president. We all know that.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Even imagine?
I can't imagine that all of the stuff, and that he has a viable chance, because if he is the nominee, he will get 48% of the vote just for having a poll. So and the media will run cover for him, despite everything that's happening. And
what does he run on? What could he run on?
Oh,
what is he?
American to California.
What could he point to? What record?
They're
gonna have their work cut out with that one.
It's mystifying to me. It's my friends that are their biggest fear. They're just like, you don't know how dangerous he is, because he's such a good looking, sweet, he has this
very slick.
Very slick. Anyways, to get on to now, your book, what is one, like I said, one of my favorites, and I have you can see like where I had.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing!
I had the notes, but because you're talking about with California, was there ever, when you first started having kids, were you aware of what was going on in schools, how things were going, or was that kind of something that you became aware of as you were about to send your first kids off to school?
We were aware of them. I mean, I did send one kid to the local public school, a different one where I live now, for a year or two, because we just didn't have another great option for him, and I had a newborn, and I was like, well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I think 1 year it was fine. He was like one of the few, native English speakers in his class. But the teacher seemed basically okay. The school didn't have a very good rating. And so you just, you definitely feel a little out of sorts as like a practicing Catholic with progressives and, all different kinds of people. And is my son going to be, what is he going to be hearing? But this is sort of pre-super woke times. This is like, oh my gosh, 12, 13 years ago. So it was still.
It was like when they were talking about environmentalism a lot. And
right. saving the environment, like pollution, like don't litter, that kind of thing. There was really no talk about any of the, like, no sexuality. There's no politics. So thank goodness. No immigration, none of that. No free Palestine,
Yeah.
And but then I decided to try one more in a kindergarten, and I had experienced the bureaucracy of this school. And I started like meeting with the principal, and the principal was, I was like, had my mind blown at the level of like incompetence, rudeness to parents. We were just like the last constituency that they gave a crap about. They gave a crap about their clocking in their time for their union. And they couldn't wait to get to the next level and like check out of the school. I think you have to be a principal for 2 years, and then you get to go and like work in the big tall building downtown and do, just stamp papers or whatever you do. And so they were just putting in their time. They hated parents. They didn't want to talk to parents. You were just a bother to them.
Yep.
And this was like, it was shocking to me to see even individual teachers seemed to be okay, but they complained about it all the time. They would switch in and out. You never really knew who your teacher would be. It was like just like a thicket of bureaucracy. And this is like a little elementary school. Like why is it so complicated?
Mm-hmm.
You would walk into the office, they would glare at you like, what do you want? Well, I just wanted to, sorry. Like you are always like, and so it was really weird. And then one of my kids got a kindergarten teacher who was like legitimately psychotic, like different colored socks pulled up to her knees, hairy legs, weird thing on her head, like smelly, crazy, like weird, like a weirdo, like almost like quasi homeless. And I was there the first day of school, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I can't. And then there was another family there, and this is so sad. Their little daughter was like hysterically crying, sobbing, and kind of dirty. And these were like two visible heroin addicts, the parents. Like tattooed, skinny, weird. And you could just tell. I see enough addicts all over the streets in LA, like, oh my goodness, that's a whole situation. And I was like, I can't see this every day. Like, I don't want to, I can't do anything. I can't help this poor little girl. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so my son lasted 3 days. I was like, bye-bye.
Oh, in the area I live in, Wisconsin, the schools were real. When I first moved here, after finally settling down, and my kids, gosh, they were middle school, elementary school, preschool, and I would volunteer, and I felt like I hit the jackpot. Like this is idyllic. Everyone sent their kids to public schools. There was a little Catholic private school, like that was mainly like if you wanted the religious upbringing, but the school systems were so good, you didn't have to do that. You had a choice. And so I would volunteer as much as I could, and they would welcome the parents. They loved the volunteers. And I started to see a change. Common Core comes in, and Obama's president. And I start to see changes. And so it wasn't even the woke stuff. Like it was more at that time, you could tell the teachers were kind of Democrat. They talked about global warming a lot and little anti-capitalism here and there. But I finally pulled my kids out and put them into Catholic school because I was noticing that when I was volunteering, that my kids were just learning bad kind of behaviors there, and that things just seemed off. And my daughter Sarah was writing her name Satan with the backwards N. She couldn't read in kindergarten. By the end of kindergarten, she couldn't read. And I said to my husband, who was like hoping to save some money and not have them, like, you gotta volunteer, because if I want you to see this. There's something off. So he volunteered, and after volunteering one day, he's like, "You're right. Let's go look at the local Catholic school." We moved all. So you're not going to just move one. So we moved all 4 girls. Even my youngest, they had a preschool. Not but my second youngest, and they were tested, and they were a year behind. And so the Catholic school got them it took a year to get them kind of caught up. But what we realized is we both had gone to, at least at some point, I went to a Catholic school. My husband went to a Catholic school. Our kids needed God. They needed, or they needed some morality. And we were kind of like, we felt like we need them. We want them in this sort of bubble. And this school is so like a bubble. Your kids are in this sweet bubble in the Catholic school that we're at. And I think it's like, so while even when the public school is okay, there's something kind of missing sometimes. But after COVID, now public schools are more like what you described in California 10, 12 years ago. I think California's like 10 years ahead. But I've watched, they've gone from when I was like, oh, I don't like it, to now, parents, you don't need to even come. Don't even bother. We don't want you here. And you're kind of a nuisance. And you know, you're just, and then I think parents have too, they've kind of said, okay, fine, shrug their shoulders, instead of like, nope, I need to be involved. It's good for me to be involved. Like, I need to, you know, I need that responsibility, you know, parental rights, parental responsibilities.
You actually take your life in your hands if you send a child to public school now in certain areas, certain state, like trans sanctuary states. Because if someone gets to your kid and whispers in their ear and convinces them that they're a different gender, or let them change their name in secret, don't tell your mom and dad. They don't have to tell their mom and dad. And then if you complain, you know, they can take your kid from you, and they can send you to, there you go. Yeah, exactly. They can take your child, and you won't see your child again, and your child will be in foster care, and with people who will give that kid drugs and hormone blockers. And I write about a girl in California, and who was at a school, I think it was in Alhambra in the San Gabriel Valley, and she was convinced at a public school that she was a boy, and her mother kind of was going along with it for a little while, and then accidentally, you know, and I think her mother was like an immigrant, like a Mexican immigrant. Yes. And her mother accidentally referred to her as she, kept referring to her as she, her daughter. This is a woman who like doesn't really even speak perfect English. And the school said that's child abuse. We're taking her. So they took the baby, not she was a baby, 16, foster care, so that she could complete her transition. And she was put on all these drugs. And then the mother was not allowed to see her. They had no contact was allowed. The mother couldn't call her. The mother couldn't see her. I think they allowed a visitation through glass, like once a year, like crazy. Judge ordered this crazy situation. And the girl was obviously had mental problems. Obviously, that was the trigger for all of this, had no father in the home, depressed. And I think when she was 18 years old, she walked onto train tracks in front of a train and killed herself. And this happened, well, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. And it was on the news, and this mother finally started speaking out and accusing them of kidnapping her daughter, leading to her daughter's incredibly tragic death. And there's so many cases like that. And so really, you know, you can think, oh, the public school is fine. Like, I'll just send my kid. But if there's happens to be some activists, some gender activists in that school, whispering to the little kids, convincing them to try on the princess dress, Jimmy. I see that all the time driving around LA. You see two kinds of parents in certain neighborhoods in the city. You'll see dog parents, dog moms, with their dog in a front carrier or in a stroller.
Yes. And
then the second kind is the mom holding a little boy's hand, and he's wearing a tutu and has, like, you know, little pigtails in his hair. Like he's just trying it out. You know, he has his nails painted. It's fun. Woohoo. And so those are like the two sets of parents that you see. And so they're all in. They're all bought in.
Yeah.
Because the worst possible thing you can have is a white heterosexual boy as a child. But at least if he's not, maybe he's, you know, gender, whatever, fluid, then it's okay that he's a boy.
He's on the gender spectrum. Yeah, you were talking about Yali Martinez. I was at an event where few years ago where the mom talked about this in person, and we were all crying.
So horrible.
It was so tragic. And so in Colorado, they just passed legislation, just signed into law, although it's already being challenged by Alliance Defending Freedom and Defending Education. I just spoke with Sarah Parshall Perry. They're filing a lawsuit. But if you misgender your child and you're in a custody battle, like you lose custody of your kid. If you own a business in Colorado and you say a man with a beard walks in wearing a skirt and you say he, you could lose your business. You could be fined. It's illegal. And so what you're saying is happening in schools in California and Colorado. I feel like there, but for the grace of God go I, with anytime you Democrats take control of a state, forget about it. It's going to be crazy. I'll show you. This is
my book.
Yeah, the book. I've got this interesting thing to share. I can get it up fast.
You really did your homework, Scarlett.
Oh,
that's wonderful. I love it.
So yeah, here. So In My Daddy's Belly. These are some of the books that are read to kids in public schools in California.
Look at the like random Muslim couple with like the woman in a burqa. Like they're just
this is like
intersectionality.
This is not reality. Okay, like
that dad will stone to death the pregnant dad. Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't fly.
No, that is not reality. That is definitely not reality. And then Me and My Dysphoria Monster. This is a book recommended for elementary kids, and this one of the books I have. It's about a boy that thinks that he's a girl, and then it's colorful, and these kids are they're taught this is in English, in reading, in language arts, so that you can't opt out of it. It's not part of like the comprehensive sexuality education, which was infamously started in California and now has spread everywhere, spread to Wisconsin as well. But you can't opt out of it. And that's why this is a case before the Supreme Court. The decision should come out Thursday. Basically, do parents have the right to opt their kids out of lessons that are teaching gender ideology if it conflicts with their deeply held religious beliefs? And in Maryland, in Montgomery County, Maryland, they said, nope, Muslim, Jewish, Christian families, your kids will not only read this book, they were forcing fifth graders to read it to kindergarten kids. And the parents are like, we would like to opt out. And they're like, no, there is no opt out. You can leave the school. Or
you're a book banner, as Gavin Newsom would call you, when you want to ban these books that actually cause mental illness.
But then telling Lawn Boy, what does he do?
Yeah. Lawn Boy is when I read that, I read about in the book. When I read that, sorry, my earbud keeps falling out. I was shocked. I mean, it describes sex between children. Like, actually, graphic sex between little kids. And it was in libraries. It's like, I think for fourth grade or sixth grade or something. The only explanation is they are child predators. They get off on kind of stripping little kids of their, not just their clothes, but like of their innocence. It is almost like a pathological to strip a child of his or her innocence. And that's something that, honestly, it's like goes back to biblical stuff. Like, this is like the Bible. They want to tempt you. They want to strip you of your wholesome, sweetness. And no, kid, let me show you this. Doesn't it feel good? Like, it's really so depraved and ugly. And then when you speak out about it, as you know, we are called book banners.
Yes. I'm reading from your book, and quote, when books explore ideological and literary elements, and this is from Lynn Reynolds, an expert, and Educators are better equipped to lead social and cultural conversation, disrupt norms, and allow them to examine text for different conceptualizations. And the disrupt part is what I think is important. They want to disrupt what they call normal, heteronormativity. They want to disrupt anything normal. Like, and if kids have two parents happily married, that's a normal situation that they don't want kids to have. They think that that's white supremacy to have a two-parent family. That's white supremacy. And if you go on their little charts, they'll like, that's one of the privileges you have, that, oh, are your parents married? Privilege.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I think, really the war that we're fighting here at home is actually much more important to me than the wars abroad. Okay, just to kind of circle back. As they say, this is a war, and we're soldiers in this war, and we're the only line of defense that little children have. We're the only line of defense for our own little kids.
Yep.
Other adults are out there prowling about the world, seeking the ruin of their souls by showing them this material, by confusing little boys and saying, you might be a girl, try on this dress. And those are often their own weird parents who have their own brains kind of, blown by this ideology. But you and I and moms like us and Moms for Liberty are doing this heroic work. Not that I'm a hero, but I'm just doing normal mothering, right? But now it's like kind of,
it is heroic now,
in short supply almost, to prevent. You have to be a shield. You just have to be a shield, and they're going to see all kinds of stuff. My kids, they have screens, they watch TV, they are in the world, they go to movies, they see people like running around, signs, they see it all. But at least they have been taught now and have learned, okay, well, just because those people are doing, they know what trans people are, they know that. But they have been taught and told, like, that's unnatural, that's not good for you. Those people have mental problems, pray for them. But those are not something that you need to worry about or aspire to in any way.
There's a difference between seeing things, because I'm not some weird mom that doesn't let, I know that with Disney, like, we love all the old Disney movies. There was a quote you actually, I think you put it on Twitter, and oh my gosh, it really got to me, because we took our kids to Disney World when they were little, have all these memories.
Oh yeah.
And your son asked, when will they make a movie like Toy Story again? And you said,
oh, right.
They won't.
Yeah, we can't. We don't know how.
Yeah, I'd like to hear,
we don't know how anymore.
That just hurts me. I'm like praying for the day when we get there.
That's over. I worked at Disney for 6 years. Worked writing for the parks and the marketing, and I will tell you that I was basically the only, mother in the creative campus, Imagineering, where all these ideas came from. There were very few parents. There were very few women who even aspired to have children. I was sort of like this weirdo. Okay, I was in the office and they were like, think I was weird because I had children. Like, and this is Disney. This is people creating the magic for families.
Yeah.
And they kind of like laughed at Disney people. They laughed at, parents like, oh, they won't let us say these words. It's too, and they, they're just random, run of the mill entertainment people, millennial creatives. You can imagine what they think about like the typical, like Disney families. Like, and I was a Disney family and you guys were not anymore. And the people making Toy Story, like guys like John Lasseter, he was Me Too'd out of there. He's gone. All of these kind of boomers who invented these beautiful, wonderful stories that my kids loved are gone. And they've been replaced by, they've been reimagined. And so the people creating these stories and writing these stories are, you can't even imagine like what they look like. They look like Starbucks baristas. They're far to the left of anything that Walt Disney could ever have dreamed would be possible.
He's rolling over in his grave. I mean, and the thing is they can't come up, and that's why I thought what you said was so right, because we just saw a movie and I'm like, when can't they just come up with a new story? It's
No, they
just a
can't.
regurgitation or another sequel, or we're going to redo this Snow White, or we're going to redo this story.
Oh
We're
my
going to
gosh.
redo that story. There's nothing original anymore.
Mhm.
And so
They
I'm
can't
still
do it.
sitting with my grandson watching Toy Story. Thank God, that's
Right.
he watches the old cool Toy Story, the old Cars versus Cars 4, where
Right.
it's like
Bad. Mhm.
such a difference, and
Such a difference. I know.
we need entertainment. We
I know.
want
My little boy, he grew up. He called himself Buzz Lightyear. Like that was his. He would wear Buzz T-shirts that Buzz, and he was just wanted call me Buzz. Like his gender identity was Buzz Lightyear when he was in preschool.
my
And
son
then, like
too.
yeah, I mean, so fun. And then the Lightyear movie comes out, and there's like this, black lesbian couple, and like it's all about Buzz loving the. It's like what?
We didn't even see
This is
that
for
one.
4-year-old boys.
Yeah, we
What are
didn't.
you
That's
doing?
one Toy Story movie that I've not seen. I was like, I'm not even bothering to go see it.
Yeah, apparently it's a flop. They just cannot do it anymore, but they have a big problem. I was just reading about the movie Elio too. They haven't had an original animated movie that has done well since Coco, which is like 8 years ago. And so they had make sequels. They're all done with the princess remakes. They canceled Rapunzel after Snow White. That's not happening. Thank goodness. Like no one needs any more of those.
Mhm.
So they don't have any more. The new movie that was a trailer that showed during the Elio, which is out in theaters. Yeah. Apparently there's a trailer in it for a movie called Hopper. That is the new Pixar movie. Listen to this one. This is about a teenage girl who puts her brain into a synthetic beaver to hang around with the other beavers to get, to kind of investigate beaver world because of some environmental disaster that's going to be happening to the beavers.
Oh.
And so it's like transhumanist, like, I don't know, maybe it's great, but it's like, sounds like an environmental, like fear tactics movie. And I just don't like the idea of female, little girls like thinking, oh, my brain can just go into a different body. Like, no,
yes.
What is that?
No, that doesn't sound like a good story at all. It's like,
no. And it's like 5-year-olds aren't gonna, no.
And I don't know if there's ever going to be a white princess again.
Oh no, that's not allowed. No more. You're not allowed to have any white, Caucasian. Nothing can be.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's over. That's white supremacy. That's white supremacy, Scarlett.
And then she's going to be like, she's not interested in ever getting married, or she's just asexual. They're just like they're
right.
And they're not even princesses anymore. They're just sort of like they're she girls that lead, but and their dads are dumb.
Right.
Their moms were wise, and now it's the trope. It's like why we had strong females before. I grew up with Princess Leia, and it's like women were strong before. It's not like they weren't strong before, but they also they were also cute, manly men that I had a crush on Han Solo. Like you could have a crush on. Now there's like nothing.
Right. No, I mean they blew it with Frozen. It was so sad because Frozen had like so much promise. Frozen 2, I could not get through that one. Her boyfriend couldn't marry her, and then Elsa's off in the woods doing nothing. Like I don't know what she's doing. They're making 2 new Frozens. I had like a Frozen daughter who was like, for 5 years, that was like her only thing she wanted to wear. The Frozen outfits. They're making 2 new Frozen sequels, and I just like shudder to think, like, okay, how many lesbian relationships can they put Elsa in 2 movies?
I'm just like nervous. What's going to happen? Yeah, my daughters. Oh my God, my one that's 16 now. She was Elsa.
Yeah, I too.
I mean, we still have like the Elsa dresses, and
it was so fun. It was great.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. And that's why I have so many good positive memories. So like we have the ornaments, and so we kind of stay in that realm. And then what they've done to Star Wars is sacrilegious to me. It's as sad. Love Star Wars and love it. Grew up on it,
Yeah, of course.
And
what's not to love? And that was they just literally trashed the whole legacy for like temporal politics. You have to have a girl now, and she's got to have the stormtroopers black, but they're platonic. And then the whole, I didn't understand any of it. Like Darth Vader's son, Han Solo's son kills Han Solo, but then she ends up with him.
Still alive. I don't even know how that happened, but you could have, like Ray, you can like the first one, you can still have those strong characters. You just don't have to make all the men weak. You can have the strong female character and all that, but the guys don't have to be complete idiots, weak, dumb, or if they have good in them, they're kind of, they have a big past, just
right.
So
you're saying we need new stories, we need new fairy tales, we need new ideas.
Yes,
I agree. We sure do.
And follow the hero's journey. Like the hero's journey is, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. It's like, it's a fabric, and you were a storyteller. So there's something about like Harry Potter and all that it just, we love these stories for a reason.
We need those stories almost. We need that.
This crap that we don't like. And they just keep doing it. You're like, oh, well, this time they'll learn. This time they're going to learn their lesson.
Well, maybe it's an opportunity for someone brilliant out there to be the next, Walt Disney, hopefully.
What do you think? Because you were in entertainment, or you were in writing and all that. What is the future like? Because I want more movies. I want entertainment where I just feel good, or it's just nice, or I learned something, but not about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people trying to do that. I'm actually working with a development studio now to try to figure out how do we do that. I think the problem is that the infrastructure is not quite there. There is no big studio. It's sort of all indie, and that requires a lot of money. And if you have actors in a movie that's made by, let's say, written by someone like me or some, then it's like, that'll ruin their career if they want to work in Hollywood. Oh, but you worked for these, right wing, whatever. And so it's so tricky. But there are actors and writers and all of these people on our side secretly. My brother is a filmmaker in Hollywood, secretly conservative, working in the business. It's possible to do, but we're not quite. I think we will be there where there is an entity that can battle with, like, let's say Netflix, Netflix Studios or whatever. But we're not quite there, and we should all hope that it happens soon.
I mean, don't they look at like the latest Tom Cruise movie and see the numbers and think we should do more of this? Right.
Yeah, you'd think that they would. I mean, Mission Impossible movies seem pretty okay. I think they're trying to I think Disney realizes we got to get like the woke out, and they have tried to do that. They've cut some storylines, but here's the problem. They spent the last 10 years hiring 100% like hardcore, fanatic, woke, radical leftists. And so those are now the people, 10 years worth of new hires, who are the ones making all their creative decisions. And so you'd have to fire. It's like the deep state, like Trump firing the deep state. Disney would have to fire, and all these studios would have to fire like everyone over the age of 20, under the age of like 40. Like, you just get rid of them all because they're all like that. They're all infected like this. So it's going to be a generation, I think, before it kind of works its way out, if it ever does. I don't know.
And creative, I think that's, you can be creative. They tend to be, it seems more progressive. So hopefully that more people with traditional values, or just kind of center will get into the creative space. I think maybe sometimes people think, oh, I'm not progressive, I shouldn't be in that field, but hopefully we just get more creative. Just something, things have got to change. There's like nothing. And I guess maybe because I'm an Xer, like I love going to the movies. I love the anticipation of a great film and want to take the kids, and that feeling that we had, like, oh, it's a great movie, and we're movie, and it's like, I wish there was a movie to go see that I was excited about.
I know. I mean, I'm an Xer too. And so I remember the summers in the 80s. It's summertime. I would have 3, sometimes 4 movies every weekend, all summer, that like everyone saw. My mother would drop me and my brother off at the movie theater in Westwood, and we would just like go see 2, and then like the next day another one. And like that was what we did, because there was just so many. You had to see all of them. Ghostbusters and all these, Top Gun, all these movies. And now I'm lucky if there's one movie in a summer. And I can't think of one actually that there is I want to see. My kids haven't. I think I took my daughter to see the Minecraft movie. Okay. And I didn't get it, or it was, to me, it was like, they enjoyed it. okay, fine. But that was it. That's one movie in a year in a theater. And that's just, I mean, you and I, we were seeing, I don't know, dozens.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the new Jurassic Park movie, like Scarlett Johansson, who everyone's like Scarlett Johansson, but yeah, not the same. I don't make that.
Right. Not you. It's not you.
Not me. But
a girl boss.
Yeah.
I just remember. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I just feel lucky that I lived through the good Star Wars, you know, the whole the Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and
great stuff. Yeah.
Marvel before Marvel. That was Marvel. Lord, that's another one. Like,
I gave up on that.
So good. I mean, Endgame. I was like bawling my eyes out. Still, like,
yeah, I enjoyed that movie. That was fun.
The whole family. We took the whole family, even my kids in college at the time. Get together and go because we'd been watching them since they were little.
Right.
And it was a experience, and hopefully that comes back. Hopefully that kind of stuff comes back again. But what's going to happen in California? I mean, it is the most beautiful state. It's beautiful. The weather is amazing.
I know.
What's going to happen?
Yeah. I go through this every day. Why are we here? Why are we here? I'm here for two reasons: the weather, number one, and family, number two. And my husband's career, he really couldn't move. It would be difficult for him to transplant what he does elsewhere. So we're here for the time being. I'd rather not be. However, then there's a question of like, where do we go? I don't know where to go. California, I was born here. I spent most of my life here. It is a really hard place to leave. It's a really hard place to leave when you grow up, especially in proximity to the ocean.
Yes.
And you're just used to this kind of very lovely days, and the weather is so temperate. And it's so crushing to see what's happened. And so I have finally come to the conclusion that California cannot be saved. Before I was like, it can be, maybe it can be. It cannot be saved. And even if you elected someone more sane than Gavin Newsom, the reason it cannot be saved is that the people here are, there's no way with the people. You would have to do, I think we should do, I just wrote an article, a column for the Spectator calling for regime change in California. And, forget Iran. Okay. More important to do it here because the people here hate America more than the Iranians do. Okay. Yes. Californians hate America more than the mullahs. They hate and when I say America, I mean right-leaning America, like Americans as they used to be, who salute the flag. Those they hate them. And so, but there's it's like 30-70 or 60-40 here. So you would have to get rid of, deport, or scare away mass numbers of these Californians who are keeping it crazy, who keep voting for these crazy lunatics, like the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. I call her Kathy Bates. She is a lunatic. Senator Alex Jose Padilla. These people want nothing. All they care about is Trump, getting Trump.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. All they care about is Trump. They don't care that the city is a cesspool, actually a cesspool, crime and trash and homelessness.
Right.
They want to get Trump. Trump is not the problem here, you guys. Trump is not the problem here. You are the problem here. The beaches are filled with psychopaths, schizophrenics. You can't use a bathroom.
Why? Why don't they see it? Why do they keep voting for it?
Because they've been told over many years that, they want to take away it's abortion. They want to, it's not cool. They can't fly their freak flag and, don't like gay people, whatever it is. I don't know. But it's a combination of feminism, immigration, abortion, and just liberals want to just be free to be, degenerates, okay? To just be pure degenerates. And so you would have to regime change those people. So barring a mass, an apparition of the Virgin Mary that mass converts the state, I think we need to scare them away. And the way you scare away liberals is by showing them that they live near conservatives. So my advice to people is be loud and proud as a conservative. Don't hide. We want them to leave, go away. So hang 3 Trump flags on your house. Put 3, MAGA stickers on your Tesla. Show them that, I don't live in a bright blue state. Maybe it's, I'm not, they're here. Maybe I need to go somewhere even more progressive, but I don't know where that is. I mean,
I think
California is doomed,
Florida, right? Like in Florida, because people say, "Oh, people moved to Florida," but it's also all the people that defected. They're like, "Oh, it's too conservative here," and they left. And all the Floridians are like, "Bye, see you, go,
right.
get out." Like, don't.
Yeah. If we all start like carrying guns around, they'll run away. They're but of course you're not allowed to do that. You have to just lay there and let the bad guys, rob you and kill you. I
don't get it. But when I say why, I almost it's like facetiously, because in Wisconsin, we can watch what's happening in California and still not learn the lesson, because we will adopt all the similar policies, but it's different here. We'll adopt all these policies, but it's not going to change Wisconsin. You need only look to our capital, Madison, where my kids have gone to school, and it's a communist utopia there, but it's a shell of its former self. It used to be such a beautiful, gorgeous area, and now it just, but it persists because I think education is probably one of the biggest reasons. The kids are brainwashed very early on that good people think like this. Bad people vote for Trump. Bad people or dumb people. You're bad or you're dumb if you vote for Trump. You're just not smart. So they give grace like, oh, Pat, like you're just dumb. So you voted for Trump, you're dumb, or you're evil, pathological.
You're racist.
Yeah. And you grow up with that enough, and you're almost, even if you don't agree with it, you just don't want to be bad or dumb. So it's
hard to break out of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the media
brainwashing
carries water and doesn't report the truth. And I don't know. It's a whole psychological thing that has happened. And I'm happy that with Trump, and you can only hope over the next 3.5 years, see what happens with the midterm elections. That's a big one, because and California, but the good news is California we would not have the majority in the House if it weren't for California House seats won by Republicans. So there are areas of California that.
Oh yeah, there are. I mean, Orange County, Newport Beach is like red, I mean, not 80% red, but there's Trump flags in front of houses. There's MAGA hats. Like you're allowed to do that there. I think in Southern California, in LA, the only district that actually went red is Beverly Hills, because of all the Persians and the Iranians who fled the mullah. So they understand. I think they're probably very, very happy right now with Donald Trump. But what I can understand are, like, I know a lot of liberals in California, Jewish people who hate Trump. But I wonder how they feel now. Like, I wonder if he will or has earned any loyalty. I hope so. Yeah. I think so. I think they're thrilled with this. They know Iran is a horrible threat to Israel. I hope people kind of like come on board and see like, okay, under the liberals, we have no money. You can't afford groceries. You can't buy a house. You can't go to school. Like, we're gonna have wars. Like, nothing is working. But this is our only chance.
It's so expensive. So one of the final questions, I know I could talk all day, but but so I mean, what do you think with the universities with California? There's a lot of universities out there, so that's another. Do you think they're all going to survive? Do you think some of these are going to start? There's so many satellite. I mean, because listen, I have kids that just applied to college. One's applying to college, and what school in California? There's so many different satellite universities, and it's kind of a hotbed for a lot of the woke Marxism stuff. Are these campuses? Are they all going to survive with what's kind of the changes happening, where you have to actually repay your student loans, and you're getting? Hopefully, we're going to be able to cut off some of the funding to these colleges that are just turning out like a lot, just full of woke garbage. I mean,
they'll totally survive. Places like the UC Berkeley, UCLA, they're not going anywhere. They will be supported by, unless the law changes, which I don't think it is yet. They have 25%, just like Harvard, 25% foreign enrollment. Who are paying
25%.
I think it's 25. Yeah. 20, Harvard's 25%. And then the UC's with graduate schools, 25%. UC Irvine is like even higher. I mean, there's like, you go there, you don't hear a word of English. It's just it's Mandarin. And there's just so many mainland, literally like Chinese nationals that we're educating. And my son didn't get into UCLA with his like amazing scores and amazing GPA. But instead they brought it, just the DEI affirmative action is not going anywhere in California. So they're going to be fine letting people in with no SAT scores, with like very mediocre GPAs, who meet some ideological quotas.
How do they pay for that?
What's that?
How are they're gonna just continue with taxes?
Yeah, because rich liberals live here and are very happy to keep paying insane property tax, insane state income tax. We have the highest state income tax bracket in the country. I think it's like up to 12, 13, 14%. I don't even know the highest bracket. And they're very happy to do that because they, to them, it's moral. They're virtuous. I'm a good person. I'm rich, but I'm paying my share. And so I don't think that they're going to go anywhere. There are fewer and fewer children being born in California, but they keep importing, out of state and foreigners who can just keep. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, as people who sell their homes in LA, more often you're selling to mainland, like Chinese nationals, because they're the ones who have money.
So depressing.
And so that's who these schools are going to be filled with. I'm not talking about Asian Americans. I'm talking about like people who fly, who come here straight from like Chinese passport.
Yeah.
It'll just be filled with people like that, I think.
That's really depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's the truth. That's some of the things that we've seen where they're foreign nationals buying property, buying businesses, buying housing, building housing and only renting it out so that there's less home ownership. I mean, these are the kinds of things that are way more dangerous to America than Iran, right? Like, it's home. Totally. It's a little crazy, but I still like, there is hope because that's happening there. In other areas, I think that they're getting more read, they're getting more people waking up. And I think one of the last topic to talk about, because it's one you talk about a lot, it's our young people and having hope in our next generation. Also, I wanted to say, like, for my kids, I'm looking at Catholic colleges. There's some really good Catholic colleges, and I'm in DC a lot more, and a lot of conservatives. I make lists. They're like, I'm like, what's that college again? Can I write that down? That's a non-big one. And there's a lot of good Catholic colleges raising that kids graduate from, and they're normal, and the girls aren't wacky, crazy. And I have 4 daughters, 1 son, and I'm just trying to keep them normal, trying to keep them
right. If you at other colleges, if you like their gender, you can't keep their gender when you send them to Berkeley. I know Catholic moms who've sent children to Berkeley, and they'll come back as atheists. Unfortunately, they just completely shed years of formation, and they just shed it, and they just don't care anymore. And so you have to be careful. You have to really know your kid. Or, for example, I have a kid who's like into science, and he's going to a non-Catholic California college, but I feel he's so, I think, devout, and he's so into science that I don't think it's going to really affect him. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, for my girls, that does worry me, and I want them, I agree with Charlie Kirk. I think girls should have a, not maybe 100% focus, but college is a great place to meet a future spouse. You don't have to, but it certainly is nice. And so I definitely, when I pick out, when we're looking at schools for my 16-year-old, that's definitely going to be important to us for sure.
Yeah. That you don't want, you spend so much time raising your child. I don't want it to get ruined.
I know. Right.
And I've seen it happen too. But we also have, and I think I get the sense from you that we're very close family. We are together a lot. And I would say to parents, like, it's okay to make your kids, when they're teenage years and they don't want to, it's like, no, family time. We're going to family events. We spend time together, because when they grow up, and I'm at both ends, they my older kids, we just went out to dinner with my son, and he's his residence, he wants to be close to home. You raise a tight-knit family, and even when they have to go, my daughter do it to Florida, they come back because their family's their center, it's their home, it's where so just build, love your kids so much that it's the place they want to be, and give them, you have to, they want the beers, they want, don't think, 16, they can raise themselves now. Nope.
Right. Good advice. There's no guardrails in adulthood, so you have to put the guardrails in when you can.
Yeah.
When they're still under your roof, for sure.
Well, it was great talking to you. There's like so many more questions, but I've got
to do it again.
Yeah, it's later for you, and I've got to go grocery shopping to make dinner, and you probably have to make dinner.
Me too.
Yeah, chicken parmesan tonight. I promise.
Yum. Nice.
So he's getting the ingredients, and I'll cook it. So.
Oh, I love that. Nice.
Thanks for coming on. I hope we can talk again soon.
I'd love to, Scarlett. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. And read. I'll do a bunch more.
Domestic Extremists.
It's a great book. Is there anything that you're doing in the future that you're on Fox News a lot? You have a Substack, X account.
Yeah. PeachyKeenan.com. And I have a news column. I'm just starting for The Spectator, coming out soon.
Okay.
And other things in the works, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot. You're very talented. You're really funny.
Thank you.
Even with
Sweet.
I was listening to your book because, as I told you beforehand, I read some of it, but while I was organizing closets last summer, I listened to your whole book. Listening. So, and while I was doing different things that summer, and I would laugh out loud so many times and rewind it.
That is amazing. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes, you talk about serious things, then you make it funny, and your Substack's funny, and I always find your X posts good and funny, and I like that. It's nice to laugh every once in a while.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Scarlett. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
You too. Good to talk to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.